Good afternoon. Welcome to the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, August 10th, 2021. It's 2:01 p.m. My name is Ty Mentor, Chair of the Board. To my left is the Vice Chair, Commissioner Gary Edwards, and to my right is Commissioner Carolina Mejia. To her right is the County Manager, Miro Chavez. Going down the line, we have Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell and Clerk of the Board, Amy Davis. Calling this meeting to order, and we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Commissioner Mejia.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We would also like to start today's meeting with a land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge the Indigenous Salish peoples who have lived on and cared for the land and waterways of this county since time immemorial, and who still inhabit the area today, specifically the Squaxin Island, Nisqually, and Chehalis people, our sovereign tribal partners. With that, I would contemplate a motion regarding the proposed agenda for today's meeting.
Yes, I would move to approve the agenda for Tuesday, August 10th, 2021.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer.
Aye. Motion carries. Agenda is approved. Is there a motion regarding the July 27th meeting minutes?
Yes, I would move to approve the board meeting minutes from July 27th, 2021.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer.
Aye. Motion carries and those minutes are approved. Okay, next is a presentation from Public Works, specifically regarding introduction of Public Works employees. And too many squares for me to read, so I'll let the county manager let us know who's presenting on the presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioners. Jennifer Walker, the Director of Public Works, will be introducing a new members to the Public Works team here in Thurston County. I think all of us are joined via Zoom. So Jennifer, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Jennifer Walker, Director of Public Works, and it is my pleasure to introduce two Public Works employees to you today. First up is Kim Burnett, and Kim joined Public Works on the 21st of June as our new Administrative Services Manager. She brings with her over 25 years of administrative experience in the public and private sector. Prior to working for Thurston County, Kim was the Administrative Services Manager for Pierce County Planning and Public Works. She spent 4 years in human resources there and also 2 years managing the client technical and support department for the Frank Russell Company. Kim's primary responsibilities at Public Works are serving as our department HR liaison, working on recruitment and retention initiatives, public records, records management, assisting our managers and supervisors with personnel management, and the department policies and procedures management. She is a lifetime Washington resident and an avid golfer. And the second introduction is Nick Bemis. And Nick is not new to the county. He's quite the success story for us. He started out as a part-time flagger almost 18 years ago and has promoted up through the division, serving in each of the job classifications in road operations. His leadership and experience have earned him a recent promotion to road operations supervisor. So we have two road operations supervisors that report to Lucy Mills. So he is very, very proud of him, new in his position, but brings with him a wealth of experience and knowledge for the department. So I would ask that you please join me in welcoming and congratulating both Kim Burnett and Nick Bemis.
Congratulations, guys. Welcome to Thurston
Welcome
County.
and congratulations. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to get somebody that's worked their way up. They really will understand what's going on. Thank you.
Yep.
Welcome to both of you, though.
Good job, Nick.
Thank you.
Anything you guys want to say? Not to put you on the spot, but you're welcome to tell us anything you want us to know.
Oh, Kim Burnett, Administrative Services Manager. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I just want to say I'm thrilled to be here. I love Thurston County. I'm loving my job. This department is amazing. So thank you.
Thank you.
Nick Bemis, Road Op Supervisor. I'd just like to say I'm excited for the opportunity, and we'll see where she goes from there.
All right, very good. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Okay. Next is the opportunity for the public to address the board. The board welcomes comments from the public at our formal board meetings, but there are some guidelines governing such comments to ensure they are appropriate. When you're called, I'll call two at a time, the person who's up and the person who's on deck. Please introduce yourself when you get to the podium and include the area of the county in which you reside. Address the board, not staff or the audience. Silence your cell phones. We do not respond directly to public comment, but the county manager may follow up on an as-needed basis on specific items. Speakers are limited to a total of 4 minutes. That cannot be donated to any other speaker. The board reserves a right to restrict a person's opportunity to address the meeting for good cause. No comments that are lewd, offensive, inflammatory, hateful, defamatory, or discriminatory. Please be respectful. No outbursts of any kind from the floor. No comments that are commercial in nature, such as promotion of a for-profit business. And remarks about pending land use permits or matters that could come before the board in a quasi-judicial capacity are not allowed. And then finally, all written materials provided to the county may be considered public record subject to public release upon request pursuant to Chapter 4256 RCW, the Public Records Act. So with all of that in mind, first one up is Jason Mozabar, and then Marcy Cleaver is on deck.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Jason Mozabar. I live on Black Lake. I am also the president of Save Black Lake Coalition. We are a nonprofit organization. We have a group of about 4 people that meet every quarter, and we work towards a couple different things, like navigable waterways, referring to the Black River, salmon restoration, ditch maintenance, as well as a couple other things. I do want to thank you guys for approving the bond with Black Lake Special District for the alum treatment that we received. Our group works closely with Black Lake Special District. In fact, we have our yearly community meeting with theirs every year. The lake looks amazing this year due to the treatment. And as a father of 2 kids under the age of 4, I can appreciate that. It's very important to us. But my real reason for speaking with you guys today is about our investment as a community out at Black Lake with the $1.4 million treatment that we did. It is sad to have such a positive impact on our lake and to have an issue with fecal coliform this summer, which has closed Kennydale Parks Beach. We as a community around Black Lake, through Black Lake Special District, has spent another $53,000 in researching the source of the fecal coliform. The $53,000 spent told us that most of the fecal coliform was coming from 3 streams, which have been tested as human DNA. The worst being near the Black Lake grocery store. More than 2,000 organisms in a sample have been found. Black Lake Special District said that they have contacted environmental health and offered assistance in getting mailing out to the property owners in the area to check their own systems. And environmental health declined, said that they would have to wait for a grant. If that is true, that seems unsettling to me on a subject like this, that they can't even get a mailing out. We are a community at Black Lake that has stepped up with time, money, by the way, our own money, with the bond, to make a better and safer lake for all of Thurston County, the whole county. We as a community are hoping for a partnership here with the county, minus roadblocks, We understand the board is beginning to probably work on their budget for this next year. And we request that there can be more funding provided to environmental health for septic oversights to help with the resolution. We really want Black Lake to be the best for everyone, not just for the ones that live around the lake, but everybody that visits it every day and gets to enjoy it. That's our main goal. So thank you so much for understanding. Thank you for the time today. I appreciate it.
Thanks, sir. Marcy Cleaver is up. John Pettit on deck.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Marcy Cleaver from the Community Farmland Trust. I'm here today to report that the trust has purchased approximately 30 acres of prime farmland down in Rochester, and this is partially due to Conservation Futures funding, and we want to thank the community, the taxpayers, the commissioners, the volunteers who are on the ranking committee for helping us with that purchase. The land has been, well, it was originally Chehalis tribal land. It's down near the Chehalis River. And then the James family came in 1852 and occupied the land, and they've owned that land ever since. It's a long time, since 1852. The family actually came up the Oregon Trail, and they've got diaries of all the things that they did, and they worked with the native tribes. In fact, when there was the pandemic for smallpox, the James family had already had smallpox, and so they were immune. So they housed and isolated the tribal members who had smallpox to help to diminish the spread of smallpox in the community. There was many other things that happened between the natives and this James family, such that it was a good relationship. And even today, the tribe told me that they had a good relationship with that James family. And James Road in Rochester is named after those folks, that James family. They were at one point told that they had to move and get off of their land because the Chehalis tribe, the federal agent that came out, said that it's going to be part of the Chehalis tribal reservation. And the Chehalis tribe said, no, we want them to stay. So that's just a testimony to how strong that relationship was.
Ms. Cleaver, I ask you to address the board.
Okay. So we've got some books, some diaries, and some really great stuff that they did. They actually named Scatter Creek. Scatter Creek was by the James family, if you wonder where that name came from. So we're going to be looking into some of the history, and we hope to illuminate some of that history, as well as working with the tribe to come up with a name for the farm. The farm is, it's going to be great. We have a leasee, Common Ground Farm, which is the oldest CSA, Community Supported Agriculture, in the county, and so they're going to be leasing that land. We are honored and indebted to the James family for selling us that land. They wouldn't just sell it to anybody. They saw the vision that the trust has, and they bought into it, and they are pleased, but it's also bittersweet for them after 170 years, 180 years of having that land. But we plan on taking good care of it. And again, thanks to the Conservation Futures Fund for helping us to make all this possible. Thank you.
Thank you. John Pettit's up. Terry Ballard is on deck.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is John Pettit. I'm from the Rich Road area. You know, I have some comments, and I hope you have the documents I set by here earlier to be able to share, but I did want to mention it's kind of a shame to hear that there's no money for Black Lake to do some research, but we're thinking maybe we can spend $22,000 on a video that might be watched by 200 people if it's typical for a video. So that's more than $100 per viewing. I'm thinking maybe you need to give some thought to that. What are our values? Health or fame? Okay, so let me get on to the other issues which I want to talk about, which your job is all about and defined by law in every single fashion that we go. So the first thing I wanted to bring is if you take a look at this one sheet here, which shows the Veterans Fund. You know, the Veterans Fund was brought to me, attention to me by Terry Ballard years ago, but I got to share this. This is, in the private sector, we look at things and we label things differently. And since you're the commissioners, you're the ones that get the claim to fame to either doing something great or doing something in a disaster. So think about this. This last year, 2020, a year of great pandemic, a big problem, financial disaster, you collected nearly $450,000 of revenue for the Veterans Fund. How much of that do you think made it to veterans? The answer is $42,239, less than 10 cents on the dollar for the revenue collected. I suppose maybe that's a step up and a thing to be proud of. But I'm thinking that that is, in the private sector, an immense disaster. It is probably representative of the worst level of management that's possible. You probably should hand it over to a private sector to deal with it, because clearly the county isn't getting the job done. The next thing which I'm going to talk about, brief time here, is it's labeled here, intentional withholding of public information. Now, you know that I'm highly involved in oversight and watching what's going on. And you know, I take a look, and when I say you're withholding information, you'll find the first sheet behind that, my little cover sheet on that, is the spot here that talks about the minutes. The last minutes that was recorded into the system for the public to access was 4/27. This is in the 8th month. This is 4 months ago since we've had a minutes actually posted on the system. There's no excuse for that. And then we have ordinances. It's kind of interesting because on this one, the last one that was posted, number 16008, which was the Medic 1 levy, the original one, is the last one that was posted. We haven't had anything posted since the April 13th ordinance. That's what you call concealing information. You don't want the public to know. I'm thinking it's the commissioners don't want. Certainly your county manager would follow your direction. He wouldn't be doing that on his own or direction. So I wanted you to know something here. And if you go to the next little section, which is about Lewis County, that little tiny county down south, well, here's how they have their minutes. Their last minutes recorded was July 27th. Gee, they can get the job done. And the next sheets that you're going to see after that, you're going to see where they actually have a set of minutes for the Board of County Commissioners, July 27th. But on the next section there, you're going to find out they have for minutes for all quorum meetings. Every meeting they have, and you're going to find out that they list every single meeting has a minutes, not just every one that's convenient or possibly required. So I'm going to finish real quick. State law. I know you're really concerned about law. RCW 4230, minutes. The minutes of all regular and special meetings, except executive sessions of such boards, commissions, agencies, and authorities, shall be promptly recorded, and such records shall be open to the public inspection. Do you want to follow the law, or do the laws not apply? Do you want the people to respect you? Then respect the laws. Thank you.
Mr. Ballard.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name's Terry Ballard. I'm a retired Master Sergeant of 35 years and retired in Thurston County in 2012. Got here in 2004. I too want to caveat Mr. Pettit on the minutes. 4 months behind? That's ridiculous. Okay? It's not like, you know, not like your CPET over here where you have to, where they don't have to follow law, but you need a hearings examiner for them to follow the law. And you need to pay for that separately. That's kind of anarchy. And as far as exposure, you know, you can go on the web and you can get this document, but this is worthless without these attachments. There's no attachments on the web. You can't read any of this. You have to go by the liners that you put in. That's ridiculous. That's not open government. Okay, the meetings. Meetings are required by your ordinance. You can't even follow them. And state law says that you can't cancel a meeting because of a holiday or whatever. You have to have it on the next day. That's state law. And you establish the meeting in your ordinance, and you can't even follow your own ordinance or state law. The next, okay? County ordinance, state law, next day. Okay, the Veterans Fund, all right? You should have been giving massive amounts of money out in 2020 on the Veterans Fund. But you chose to give, what, $49,000 to homeless shelters who have to verify that they are indeed homeless, that they are indeed honorably serving veterans. Okay? Excuse me, where's that check and balance? Okay? You gave out $49,000 one time to offset the request for proposal because it was at $50,000 to veterans. You care more about funding homeless to keep them homeless than you do off the street. Why do you have 12 people in your social services department? They're supposed to be getting homeless off the street, get drug addicts off the street, get people off our streets. It's ridiculous. And you let it go that way. Your mismanagement lets it go that way. And all in all, the environment, I don't know, what, 425,000 gallons of effluent goes into Bud Inlet every day from the lot plant? They call it gray water. Well, it's not potable water. And fish die. A whale died there. Come on, guys. Mr. Edwards over here went through the same briefing I did out in Yelm. Okay? Instead of spreading I'll just call it poop, and all the debris out in the farmlands of Yelm, they had a really good idea. Let's get this incinerator here. It can produce electrical energy. It can produce all this good stuff back into the environment, totally green, and it'll pay for itself in 5 years. No, we just continue to throw crap into our environment, and it's getting into our food. Also, Husky and Carpenter. Write that street down. Write that intersection down. Husky and there are 3 dry wells in there that all the stormwater goes into. It doesn't go into Woodland Creek. Guess what sits next to the Woodland Creek? Another lot plant. And in abundance of rain, where do they dump their stuff? On the ground. Okay? And what do you charge me for? Oh, septic tanks. Septic tanks are proven not to have any impact in Tanglewild into the environment. We have 3 dry wells. We have 3 wells in our park that feed our water. It's not about the problem. It's how much money you can make off the problem. Thank you.
I think we may have commenters through Zoom. I'm sorry. And okay, go ahead, Greg. Yeah, you go ahead, and then we'll check the Zoom after your comments.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Time for your monthly real estate update. As you're aware, we have an extreme shortage of attainable housing in all of Thurston County. At least 65% of listings are receiving multiple offers over list price, sometimes $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. I track it every day. These are the most recent statistics come out from the Northwest Multiple Listing Service. They come out generally within the first week of the year, the first week of the month. Currently, there are 385 active home listings, including condos, in the whole county. 893 pending sales have an accepted offer on them. Since August 1st, there have been 125 solds in Thurston County. July numbers, there were 626 solds. Average price was $598,000, and the median price, which half sell above and half below, was $445,000. Pretty interesting numbers. There are 3 things that we can do to increase the supply of attainable housing in Thurston County. Increase the amount of buildable land inventory by reducing onerous land use regulations. Number 2, reduce the cost and number of government permissions and permits. For example, multiple building permits for same house styles in a subdivision or same style homes by the same builder. Number 3, reduce the time and cost involved in the permitting and approval process for projects and neighborhoods. Remember, time is money. Builders have carrying costs during the current lengthy permit application and approval process. They have building material costs, interest on the loans, infrastructure installation costs, the list goes on. And guess what? These increased costs get passed on to home buyers, hence the higher numbers that I recited at the beginning. Thurston County has the power to do something about this. Feel free to ask me any questions anytime. You know how to reach me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Let me go to the Zoom screen. Mr. Johanna, would you like to provide public testimony this afternoon? Mr. Johanna, no testimony? Thank you. Mr. Tony Wilson, would you like to provide public testimony this afternoon?
Thank you. No, not today.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Jeff Bickford, would you like to provide public testimony this afternoon? Oh, he's scanning stuff. He's scanning stuff.
All right.
So we'll cover it.
Okay, thank you. Then we will move on to item 2, County Manager's Update.
Yeah, I have a couple of updates as a follow-up to the public testimony you received on July 27th. One was Mr. Ruben Ruiz. He lives in 8328 180 Southwest Rochester. His public testimony and written testimony was related to he purchased a home, and he knew that the home has some residual cleanup that needed to be done due to a contamination. He requested the board to ask the board to release that cloud on his property related to the residual contamination that he was exposed to. He has spent significant amount of money on the cleanup, and he believes he has met all the requirements the county has asked to do. Following to that, I reached out to public health, environmental health staff, Patrick Soderberg. I have to give him kudos to him. He reached out to Mr. Ruiz, and through their coordination, they proceeded to conduct another testing of his property. And the samples that just came back, it appeared to be below the numbers in which he needs to continue to do the cleanup. So the end result of this, either today or tomorrow perhaps, it will be issuing a letter to Mr. Ruiz stating that his property is free of any contamination. So good response to that. Also on the same day, you received public testimony from Ms. Maria Treviso and Ms. Sue Yochim, and both related to the fireworks ban that the county implemented this past 4th of July due to the extreme weather conditions. Ms. Treviso stated that perhaps nobody was arrested. From her point of view, was a lot of fireworks going on, and he was making a point that she suffers from PTSD, and that was an issue for her. Ms. Yochim provided along the same lines the public testimony, but she requests the board to form a citizens group to provide additional perspective as to how the current ordinance can be strengthened to provide any type of enforcement related to the potential ban due to extreme weather conditions. I'd like to remind the public the Thurston County does not has a ban on fireworks. What we have on ordinance is that we can implement a ban on the discharge of fireworks due to the extreme weather conditions. It's fundamental difference between the two. So this morning you had a conversation with your fire marshal, and you have requested for the fire marshal to reach out to Ms. Sue Yuchim and asking her to we'll welcome any type of citizens' feedback related to how we can enhance any particular ordinance. And as a result, the fire marshal, Mr. Josh Cummins, will be in touch with them, and he will be the conduit in which we can receive that feedback from the citizens, and we'll bring those to the board for consideration when the time comes. That's all I have for now. Thank you.
Questions for the county manager from the board?
No, sir.
Not at this time.
Then we'll look at our consent agenda. We have 4 items, 3A through 3D. Is there a motion regarding the consent items?
Yes, I would move to approve consent items A through D.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Minzer?
Aye. Motion carries. Those items approved. First item under department items is Central Services, a resolution and call for sealed bids for a Thurston County Family Justice Center hydronic repair project. And we have Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell going to address this item. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm sure I won't do as good a job as our project manager, Chris Helmer, would have, but he was unavoidably detained at another meeting. So this item is requesting your approval to go out for bid for the Thurston County Family Justice Center hydronic repair project. At the FJC, we currently have been having leaks within the heating water system. And so this project would have the installation of the heating water system isolation valves that would facilitate the isolation and draining of portions of the system that will accommodate operation and maintenance functions. It is a preservation project for this building, and the design has been completed for this project, and we are requesting your permission to go out to bid and get the project done.
Okay, any questions for Robin?
No, sir.
No, sir, we've discussed this for quite some time now.
Is
Thank
there a motion?
you, sir. I would move to approve the resolution and call for sealed bids for the Thurston County Family Justice Center hydronic repairs, project number 25611.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Minzer?
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Next is item 5A, interlocal agreement for common interest and joint defense.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioners. This particular proposal before you is related to the new legislative laws that passed this past legislative session applicable to law enforcement. This agreement is to allow the sharing of policies confidentially between the county jurisdictions. This is so that we can edit and confirm with the policies to match each other's case to multi-jurisdictional response. So it is important from the Thurston County Sheriff's Office perspective that all the policies and procedures may be consistent with the cities within Thurston County as to how we're planning to implement the new laws. This particular agreement does not necessarily approve any particular policies, procedures related to any of the local law enforcement jurisdictions. What this agreement does is creates the umbrella as to how we can cooperate among the law enforcement jurisdictions here in the county to make sure the policies are aligned, particularly related when it's a joint response, when the Sheriff's Office and any law enforcement from the cities respond to a particular situation. And I believe the response has to be consistent with the state law. This has been coordinated with the cities as well as coordinated with the Sheriff's Office. I myself had a conversation with Sheriff Znaza, and he's fully supportive of this particular MOU. Any questions?
No questions.
I guess I'd just verify, this has come about because of new legislation passed in this legislative session?
That is correct, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a motion?
I would move to approve the common interest joint agreement for legal services with the Washington State Patrol and the cities of Lacey, Olympia, Tenino, Tumwater, and Yelm related to the process and policies for responding to legislation passed in 2021 that affects police and fire department response, and authorize the county manager to sign the agreement and any subsequent amendments.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye. The motion carries. Thank you. Let's go to 5B. Budget Stabilization Fund 0011. Back to Robin Campbell.
Thank you, Commissioner. This afternoon, I am requesting that you authorize the creation of a budget stabilization fund. And this is an exciting moment, establishing what is essentially a rainy day fund for the county that will ensure a more stable budget, for lack of better words, in the future. This resolution does four things. It first establishes the fund within the offices of the auditor and the treasurer, and that's what gives it appropriate coding and allows us to put money in and take money out. The amount of the fund is capped at $5 million, as identified in the resolution that the board adopted earlier this year, number 16010. The second thing the resolution does is it identifies the allowable expenditures from the fund. The board would have a unanimous vote to transfer funds from this stabilization fund to the general fund for the following reasons. It would be in the event of a non-debatable emergency, in response to actions taken by the legislature which have a negative impact on our general fund of at least $500,000. And if the general fund balance falls below $10 million due to revenue shortfalls, you would transfer money to the general fund to maintain cash flow. The third thing this resolution does is sets the revenue or identifies the revenue that would come in again in concert with resolution 16010. And the sources of revenue for this fund are mainly three windfalls identified that come into the general fund. So if the county receives sales tax in excess of 5% growth, up to $1 million of that would be transferred to the fund. If the county received timber sales in excess of $600,000, that excess amount could be transferred to this new fund. And if we had interest in excess of $2 million in the general fund, that excess amount could be transferred to the new fund. So really, what you are doing is authorizing transfers in time of growth that would then become available to the board to use in less fortunate times in the county. And the annual transfer is established in the first year of $2 million, and in the following years, no more than $1 million in each year. And again, the fund is capped at $5 million. The fourth thing this resolution does is make a statement that any interest earned by the fund is swept into the general fund, as the board does with many of the county's funds. Again, this is a very exciting thing to be a part of, to establish a rainy day fund and ensure stable financial work of the county. And I applaud the board for taking this step and would be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Robin, so our current bond rating is a AA, correct? Could having a budget stabilization fund, could that possibly raise our bond rating?
It is one of the factors that the bond raters consider when they are setting bond ratings, so it could be a positive step. I think we have a long way to go, though, before we see a AAA rating. That would be extremely exciting, but this is one of the things that would help us get there.
Thank you.
Commissioner Edwards.
I do have some questions about this. I'm concerned about the timing, and I believe we have potential problems that might surface later this year and throughout next year, because we do have a 2-year budget. And that's my concern. I'm never against saving money, but I just think we've got it in other places that would be better. So, thank you.
Okay, I don't have any questions. I'm excited as well. This has been one of my top priorities since I joined the board, and I'm thrilled to see it kind of finally come to a final piece of the fruition. So if there's no more questions, I would entertain a motion.
I would move to approve the resolution to create a budget stabilization fund 0011.
I will second that motion. Any further discussion from the board?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards,
Nay.
Commissioner Menzer,
Aye. Motion carries. 2-1. That's 5B. Next is 6A, Community Planning and Economic Development, Interlocal Agreement Renewal for Voluntary Stewardship Program. Chris Chapeau from CPED, Senior Planner. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you. Before you today, Board, is an interlocal agreement renewal for the implementation of the Voluntary Stewardship Program. The county implements a voluntary stewardship program, otherwise known as VSP, for landowners carrying out agricultural activities as an alternative approach to address the state's growth management requirements. The program uses a watershed-based, incentive-based process to protect critical areas and promote viable agriculture, and Thurston Conservation District is a critical partner in this effort. Because VSP relies on voluntary stewardship from our agricultural producers and landowners, the Thurston County VSP Work Group identified a technical assistance provider during the development of the VSP Work Plan as the local conservation district. This aligns with other VSP counties in the state of Washington. Under this interlocal agreement, the Thurston Conservation District will continue to provide education and outreach about VSP, technical assistance for landowners to create and implement individual stewardship plans, as well as collect, maintain, and provide data to the county staff on the work plan goals for the required benchmark reporting to the State Conservation Commission. The contract renewal is for a total of $150,000 for the 2021-2023 biennium. The interlocal agreement is funded entirely with the State Conservation Commission contract funds, and the contract from SCC was approved by the Board of County Commissioners in June of this year. This contract supports the County Strategic Initiatives 7 and 9, and if there are any questions, I am available.
Commissioner Mejia, anything for Chris?
No questions.
Yes, Chris, this is pass-through money from the state?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you.
I don't have anything. Is there a motion?
Yes, sir. I would move to approve the interlocal agreement with Thurston Conservation District to continue to provide technical services for the Voluntary Stewardship Program for the period of July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2023, in the amount of $150,000, and authorize the Director of Community Planning and Economic Development to execute the agreement and any amendments that extend the agreement up to 1 year and does not exceed the total amount by 10%.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer,
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
6B, also under CPED, is request for proposals for hearing examiner and administrative hearing officer services.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Jeremy Davis with the Thurston County Community Planning Economic Development Department. I'm the Operations Manager for the department. We're seeking approval from the Board of County Commissioners to move forward with a request for proposals for hearing examiner, administrative hearings officer services, and pro tem hearing examiner services. We've been working with the Public Health and Social Services Department in consultation with Public Works as well. Again, the request will include hearing examiner, administrative hearing officer, and pro tem hearing examiner services. The current contracts for the county's hearing examiner and administrative hearings officer and pro tem hearing examiner services expire on December 31st, 2021. The county last issued a request for proposals for these services in 2017. We do so periodically to ensure that the county continues to receive competitive rates for these services. The hearing examiner serves as a hearing officer for cases related to the county's land use regulatory laws pursuant to Thurston County Code, other implementing county ordinances, and state of Washington statutes and regulations. The administrative hearings officer is currently the same firm as the hearing examiner and serves as the administrative hearings officer for Articles 1 and 4 of the Thurston County Sanitary Code, Chapter 1092 of the Thurston County Code, which has to do with cleanup of illegal drug sites, and manufacturing sites, I should say. And they also serve as hearing officer for any other matters referred to that hearing officer in writing by the chairperson of the Board of Health. The response period is currently scheduled to be open from August 12th, 2021 through September 7th, 2021. We're expecting to complete the process, including final consideration of any contractor contracts by early November of 2021. We will, of course, seek to find one firm who can provide all services, and what ultimately occurs will depend on what proposals we receive under this RFP. In any case, final selection will be by the Board of County Commissioners at a future County Commissioners meeting. If a new hearing examiner is selected, this will allow some transition time, given the current contracts expire at the end of December. This RFP supports Thurston County Strategic Initiative number 7, which is balancing development with the preservation of the county's rural character, natural areas, and open spaces. And if I'd be happy to entertain any questions the commissioners may have this afternoon. Thank you.
No, sir, we've had plenty of study on this one.
Okay, no questions, Jeremy. Is there a motion?
I would move to authorize the Director of Community Planning and Economic Development to advertise a request for proposals to secure services from one firm for hearing examiner, pro tem hearing examiner, and Board of Health Administrative Hearings Officer services.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Jeremy. Next is item 7A, Human Resources, Contract Award for Third-Party Workers' Compensation Administrator. Carol Renberg is here, Risk Analyst for Human Resources. Good afternoon, Carol.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you. The recommended action is to move forward with a contract with Stop Claims Corporation for workers' compensation claims handling services for an amount not to exceed $72,000 annually, and to authorize the Human Resources Director to execute the contract. This contract replaces a prior contract that we had with a different claims handling service that was approved by the board in 2014. We went out for an RFP to see if we get a better price or better service, and Stop Claims was the winner of that RFP. And so we are requesting at this time that that contract be approved. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No? Okay. Then I'll entertain a motion on this.
I would move to award a contract to Stop Claims Corporation for workers' compensation claims handling services for an amount not to exceed $72,000 annually, and to authorize the Human Resources Director to execute the contract.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye. The motion carries. 7A is approved. On to Public Health and Social Services. 8A, interlocal agreement with Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Administrative Services Organization for Criminal Justice Treatment Account, or CJTA funds. Shelley Slaughter is here for Public Health to kind of give us a brief overview.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Shelley Slaughter, Director of Thurston County Public Health and Social Services. And I'm here today to ask for the board's approval of an interlocal agreement with the Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Administrative Services Organization in the amount of $75,000 of criminal justice treatment account funds. By way of background, Thurston County receives an allocation of of criminal justice treatment account funds from the Washington State Healthcare Authority in the amount of approximately $367,000 per year. Criminal justice treatment account funds per statute are to be used for treatment and recovery support services for individuals with substance use disorders and criminal charges. Also per statute, a local criminal justice treatment account plan is developed by a panel which includes Thurston County Prosecuting Attorney's Office, Thurston County Public Defense, Thurston County Superior Court, Drug Court, and the Thurston County Sheriff's Office. Our local plan sets forth several uses of criminal justice treatment account funds, and one of these uses is housing to support eligible individuals. Housing is known to be an important source of stability and a critical recovery support for individuals with substance use disorders. This agreement operationalizes that element of our criminal justice treatment account plan by providing $75,000 to the Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Administrative Services Organization to expand an existing housing and rental assistance program. And I am here to request that you authorize myself as director of the department to sign this interlocal agreement and any amendments that do not exceed 10%. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions from the board?
No, sir. We've had much discussion on this.
Yeah.
Very good. I entertain a motion.
I would move to approve an interlocal agreement with the Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Administrative Services Organization for a total of $75,000 in criminal justice treatment account funds for the period of July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022, and authorize the Director of Public Health and Social Services to sign the agreement and any amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Minzer?
Aye. The motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, our last but not least department section is Public Works, and 9A is a project prospectus and local agency agreement for the 2024 County Road Safety Project. Brian Meyer, Senior Civil Engineer from Public Works, is here.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Brian Meyer, Senior Civil Engineer of Public Works. Public Works has recently been awarded $2,840,000 in federal funding from the Highway Safety Improvement Program for the design and construction of the county's 2024 County Road Safety Project. The Federal Highway Administration and the Washington State Department of Transportation local programs have extended the funding to cover 100% of all the project costs. This project will improve roadway safety along various roadways throughout Thurston County. Improvements include the installation of enhanced curve signing, clear zone improvements, rumble strips, speed feedback signs, and some other roadside improvements. Locations have been identified using the county's local road safety plan, which was developed to match the specific countermeasures to higher risk roadway characteristics. Washington State Department of Transportation authorizes the use of the awarding funding in phases, typically design, right-of-way, and construction, and each phase will require execution of an agreement or supplements. The first phase for design will authorize the obligation of $270,000 of Highway Safety Improvement Program funds. Subsequent supplements will be needed to obligate the funding for future phases of this project. Public Works is requesting the Board of County Commissioners to authorize the Director of Public Works to sign the project prospectus and local agency agreement with the Washington State Department of Transportation and any subsequent amendments or supplements. Thank you, Commissioners. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Questions from the board?
No questions, but this is
sir.
exciting.
All right.
Plenty of discussion.
Good item. Then I would entertain a motion on this.
I would move to approve the project prospectus and local agency agreement with the Washington State Department of Transportation for the 2021 County Road Safety Project, number 61537, and authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the documents and any subsequent amendments and supplements to obligate funding.
I think that the motion is accurate, but I just wanted to point out that the title says 2024 description. It's neither here nor there, but it may just be worth, am I right about that, County Manager?
That is correct. So
But just for the public's awareness, we're talking about the 2021 County Road Safety Project, is that right?
we're talking about the 2024.
Okay, so the motion is wrong.
So the motion, thank you for the catching. Can you repeat the motion, including the 2024?
Not Commissioner Edwards' fault. It's a typo on the form here, on the
Thank you.
agenda.
Thank you for catching that.
Okay.
Okay, would you like a repeat of that particular motion?
Yeah, and changing the 2021 to 2024.
Okay, got it. I would move to approve the project prospectus and local agency agreement with the Washington State Department of Transportation for the 2024 County Road Safety Project, CP number 61537, and authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the documents and any subsequent amendments or supplements to obligate funding.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No, sir. Thank you, Chair, for pointing that out.
Thank you, sir.
Call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Mensah?
Aye, the motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Brian. 9B, Karen Weiss here, Senior Management Analyst for Public Works. The topic is an interlocal agreements for 2021 Solid Waste Management Plan and Hazardous Waste Plan updates. Go ahead, Karen.
Thank you, Commissioners. So good afternoon. Today, the board is being asked to execute 6 interlocal agreements, or ILAs, with the cities of Lacey, Rainier, Tenino, Yelm, Tumwater, and the town of Bucota for the 2021 Thurston County Solid Waste Management Plan and Hazardous Waste Plan updates. Cooperative solid waste planning among cities and counties is provided for by RCW, and we have a shared responsibility with the cities located within our county for developing and maintaining a solid waste management plan as outlined in RCW 70A205. Thurston County, participating cities, and their community members recognize the mutual benefit to provide for continued integrated solid waste and hazardous waste management planning and solid waste programs. And we acknowledge that cooperative effort and planning agreement through interlocal agreements. The 6 ILAs that you have before you today replace ILAs currently in place with these local municipalities, which were executed in 2013 for solid waste and hazardous waste management. They represent a long process, which involved a significant investment of time and expertise of participants from these communities and other members of the Solid Waste Advisory Committee. During 2020, an updated solid waste management plan was developed to guide the actions of Thurston County, the participating cities and haulers that provide curbside collection and processing of municipal solid waste and recyclable materials. The resulting plan recommends strategies to manage solid waste generated in our county over the next 6 to 20 years. And with the completion of this updated solid waste management plan, ILAs are necessary for final plan adoption by the board and the Department of Ecology, and for the county to continue to provide certain solid waste management planning and handling services for local municipalities. These ILAs also incorporate flow control throughout the county and the participating cities in alignment with the solid waste flow control ordinance adopted by the board in December of 2020. And it's a reminder, flow control is the legal basis for local governments to designate the locations where municipal solid waste is taken for processing, treatment, and control, assure that waste generated in the county is managed responsibly, and ensure a steady, sustainable stream of municipal solid waste and associated revenues is available to fulfill our county obligations. I want to express appreciation to the SWAC and to the cities for their efforts and successful adoption of the ILAs and flow control by their respective governing bodies. and including the City of Olympia, whose ILA was previously adopted by the board. Following execution of these 6 ILAs before you today, the 2021 Solid Waste Management Plan will be brought before you for adoption prior to its final approval by the Department of Ecology. And with that, I'm available for questions.
No, sir.
Lots of discussions already.
It's been a long process, I know, since over several years, getting where we are. So is there a motion?
Yes, sir. I would move to execute interlocal agreements between Thurston County and the cities of Lacey, Rainier, Tenino, Yelm, and Tumwater, and the town of Bucota for the 2021 Thurston County Solid Waste Management Plan and Hazardous Waste Plan updates.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye. Motion carries and those ILAs are approved. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, commissioners.
Okay, one more Public Works item, interlocal agreement for Hub Junction maintenance. Ed Marson, Parks Maintenance and Operations Manager, is present to give us a brief synopsis here. Good afternoon, Ed.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Ed Marson, Thurston County Parks Operations and Maintenance Manager, presenting an interlocal agreement. Today, the board's being asked to move to approve an interlocal agreement between the City of Lacey, the City of Olympia, and Thurston County Public Works for cooperative maintenance of an intersection of the Woodland Trail and the Chehalis Western Trail at the Hub Junction and authorize the Public Works Director to sign this agreement. Staff from the City of Lacey, City of Olympia, and Thurston County have reached agreement for cooperative maintenance of the intersection of the city-owned Woodland Trail and the county-owned Chehalis Western Trail. The county operated and maintains Chehalis Western Trail intersects with the Woodland Trail near the 6.5 mile marker of the Chehalis Western. Both the City of Lacey and City of Olympia operate and maintain 2+ mile sections of the Woodland Trail. The intersections of these 2 trails is referred to as the Hub Junction and consist of a 50-foot diameter pedestrian and bicycle roundabout, informational kiosk, garbage can, and grass lawn area. Since construction of the site was completed over 6 years ago, the Hub Junction has been inconsistently maintained due to a vague understanding of jurisdictional responsibilities. The junction falls into a zone that is comprised of land parcels owned by Thurston County, the City of Lacey, and the City of Olympia. Over the years, the site has been subject to excessive graffiti, litter, and vandalism. In a cooperative effort from all 3 jurisdictions, an interlocal maintenance agreement for the Hub Junction has been drafted. This agreement outlines and schedules maintenance responsibilities for all 3 entities based on representation of property ownership at this site, as well as levels of staffing. This interlocal agreement is in alignment with the county strategic plan initiative 14 to strengthen sound financial management practices. I'm happy to ask or answer any questions that you may have to ask.
All right, any questions from the board on this one?
I believe Ed's been answering those questions for us right along, so thank you, sir.
Yeah, this is an interesting situation, but I'm glad we were able to work it through. Is there a motion?
Yes, sir. I would move to approve an interlocal agreement between the City of Lacey, City of Olympia, and Thurston County Public Works for cooperative maintenance of an intersection of the Woodland Trail and Chehalis Western Trail at the Hub Junction and authorize the Public Works Director to sign the agreement.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Call for the vote.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye, that motion carries. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Okay, item 10 is Commissioner's reports on whatever you want to report on.
Okay, I went to the ballot processing center with Auditor Hall, and she gave me the walkthrough of that location. I also did a radio show called The Morning Clatter, and that was really interesting. I filled in on a little bit about what was going on here and what we were doing. JASCOM meeting was this Monday, and the online licensing is up and running. So if anyone wants to do their online licensing for their pets, please go ahead and try it. And a SWAC meeting this Wednesday, but there was nothing really to report from that. Other than that, I've just been meeting with constituents and staff and trying to get their issues resolved. So that is all.
Commissioner Edwards.
I guess I'd like to report that I had a light week, and but I would like to bring up something that I feel is pretty important here. We've heard about some important topics this afternoon, but water quality and the current issue of water quality over at Black Lake, where those folks have expended their own funds to try and fix water quality. I'm wondering, and I'm asking the county manager this maybe, what we could do in a more timely fashion to step up to help the Black Lake community to address this concern that they're bringing to our attention. We've had a prior board meeting, we had a citizen come in, and now we've had another citizen come in. And it seems like the issue maybe is stemming from 3 streams that are coming into Black Lake. And I wonder if we can't give the citizens out at Black Lake a better response than wait until the budget process gets going. I don't know what that is going to entail, and I know my seatmates would have to weigh in on this as to what they think about it. But I don't know, GIS maybe has capability to give us some addresses. I mean, if they wanted to mail something out, why wouldn't we want to contribute? Maybe in a small matter, financially anyway, that might have a big impact to Black Lake's benefit. So I don't know how to step out of sequence here on our activities. And we're going into a Board of Health meeting shortly. And maybe someone from Black Lake might be willing to testify at that hearing as well. But I think it's a very timely topic, and I would like to see, if, as one board member, our staff folks from the health department do something. I don't know what that something is, but I do think we can help them with the mailing, locate addresses. If they've went to all the trouble to identifying a source, I think we're obligated to try to do the best we can to work with them, because I'm all about partnerships with all of our lakes and, actually creating lake management districts and stuff to address water quality. So that's kind of where I'm at on it.
Perhaps we could fold that into our August 19th Board of Health meeting regarding septic policy.
Yes, but I can probably answer some of the steps the board has taken, if I may, because on July 20th, you did receive public testimony, particularly from Ms. Stinzy from the Black Lake. I believe perhaps you know her. Similar conversations, similar feedback related to the 3 streams. The board met following to that meeting, and you asked Public Health to review that report and come back with some recommendations. That's parallel track. You also had a conversation related to what budget priorities you'd like to entertain in the upcoming 2022-2023 biennial budget. And some of the recommendations was to create a water quality program. That will be a more long-term related to the budgets you stated. Related to the septics, the board is continuing conversations. And you have received many briefings related to that. It's coming to a point as to what septic systems are contributing to lakes, shorelines, streams, and rivers. And this may be an opportunity, as you stated, Commissioner Menser, the upcoming briefing may be folding into this larger conversation. So is a couple of short-term midterm and long-term strategies the board is entertaining related to this, not just in Black Lake, but overall. So the short-term strategy, again, is you ask public health to read the report the citizens have conducted and come back to the board with some potential options.
I appreciate that. It's just that I know I'm always frustrated with the bureaucratic process that it seems to take to get to the bottom of something. And I don't have any idea what's going on those 3 inlet waterways that are coming in, but it sounded like something was coming from where there is some activity. There was a store mentioned or something, or campground, I'm not sure. But if somebody is not using proper toilet facilities, for an example, and they're using that, I think it behooves us to notify those property owners that live there. And I just hate to wait. I know the 19th seems pretty fast in government speak, but that's a long ways off, and we're already 2 weeks into this that we've known about it. I just think that there is something we can do, and if just notifying people that, hey, take a look here, what's going on? Because as a general rule, we don't find septic tanks as the problem. All these homeless camps are using the waterways as the bathroom. I don't know that that's going on. I don't even know if there's any homeless over there. But I think it's worth looking at and trying to work with the communities that are concerned about this. And that's a timely issue they're bringing forward. That's my only concern. I'd go out there myself, but you keep me so darn busy that I don't have time to turn around.
But Commissioner, if I may, this is all good stuff what you're stating. And I believe we need to get to a point in terms of if the county was to enforce any type of violations, whether it's a failing septic system or any type of system they're contributing to a fecal coliform on those 3 streams, we, the county, needs to make sure that we have the evidence. I do respect the report the citizens have conducted, but please keep in mind that we cannot take that report as a factual statement for us to start enforcing any type of violations. And that is why public health is going through the process of reviewing this and making an evidence-based approach that we need to bring back to the board.
Oh, okay, I'm not going to argue with you about that because we have a process that we have to go through. But I guess if I could get another county commissioner to say, hey, tell the county manager to get on somebody over there and work with these folks and see if we can't come up with a temporary, just a solution, notifying people that something is wrong. I think that can go a long way towards public trust, public goodwill, and I don't think it's going to be a big expense. If I could get another nod, could I get a nod from the county commissioner here?
I don't think that requires a legislative action.
I realize that.
Environmental health and see where they are in this process. If there is an opportunity to notify those owners, but the question is, what are we going to notify on? What is it that we're going to notify to those property owners? That's the question.
Well, we've had a couple.
It's just sending a mailer. The cost of sending a mailer is no much. So what is it that we're going to notify them?
Can I just jump on a little bit on one of the things that Commissioner Edwards said? The mailer wasn't the only one. I remember that because it hasn't been 2 weeks. It's been 3 weeks because last week we didn't have a meeting, and then the first week it was, I believe it was the commissioner for the SUD that came in, and then after that some citizens came in, and now we received comment this week. So one of the things that they brought in was, or an option or just some signage where the creeks were, just to let people know that there was, and I believe that was the suggestion too from, I cannot remember her name, I apologize, to put some signage at the beginning of the creeks. I mean, is that an option? It's for me, it would be cheaper than mailings, but is that an option that the county can look at and see, is it a viable option to move forward?
Yeah, and I did have and purposely I brought this report from our public health, and they are working on this. So along the streams are posted signs. They're looking at all those options. As you stated, it was the signs, now it's the mailers. So all that is part of what the staff is going through the process. Because sending a mailer tomorrow, with all due respect, what is it that we're going to be putting on that mailer?
I'm not suggesting we have to send them.
No, but
I'm just suggesting the bureaucratic process of 3 weeks now already, as pointed out by my seatmate. I think it's too long. I don't know why somebody can't give them some satisfactory communication. What could we do to kind of get to the bottom of this? That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, we'll make sure the public health, environmental health is getting in touch.
Maybe you could suggest that they prioritize this as a little bit, 3 weeks. I mean, granted, we've had other issues brought to our attention, and I'm sure we're going to look into them, but they've been going on for a long time. This is relatively new, and maybe it's been going on a long time and we didn't know about it, but I'd sure like to find out a little more.
Sounds good. I'll follow up.
The frustration of clean water and homeless camps especially is just driving me right up the wall, but okay, thank you. I guess I'm done for my report. I'm sorry I used much time, Chair.
It's okay. I'll keep it brief because we're over time for our public hearing. A lot going on. It's about the busiest summer that there's been since I've been on the board, and I attended Salmon Recovery Council all day on Thursday, WASAC meetings with director about developing legislative priorities in advance of the Legislative Steering Committee meeting in September for WASAC. Made a presentation at Sierra Club's picnic this summer, attended a meeting with Providence leadership about the issues with Ensign Road and emergency access and some projects that they're going to get started regarding housing. Attended the Innovative Justice meeting this morning. Was able to go out to see the Tenino hosted the Olympia Symphony for the first time in county history. Since the Quarry Pool is under construction, they have had cultural events out there this summer, and I was at a theater show there a few weeks ago and then able to attend the symphony concert and see the conductorial debut of Mayor Fournier as he conducted the Stars and Stripes Forever. So that was pretty fun. That's about it. Let's go to County Manager report.
I can do this very quick. Commissioners, this is my report for the upcoming week, where at least 2 commissioners will be present. You may have individual appointments on your individual calendars. Those will not be part of my report. As soon as you're done with this meeting, you have a public hearing where you will be receiving public testimony related to a proposed amendment to Thurston County Code Section 2504060 related to traffic impact fees. Soon after that, hopefully by 3:30 or so, we'll have your regular Board of Health meeting. Wednesday, August 11th, you will have your regular meeting with your appointed directors at noon. Followed by 2 in the afternoon, you have the Agriculture Advisory Committee annual briefing. Thursday, August 12th, you have a briefing related to the joint planning efforts between Tumwater and Thurston County. And then you will move at 10 o'clock on the budget work session, and that will be in lieu of the commissioners check-in. Friday, August 13th, from 9 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon, you have a planning session, and the agenda items will be posted 24 hours in advance, many topics to discuss at that meeting. Monday, August 16th at noon, you have your standing Washington State Association of Counties virtual assembly. And then you will convene back in this room on Tuesday, August 17th, 9 in the morning on your regular agenda setting. Thank you.
Okay, anything else for the good of the order before we adjourn this meeting?
No, sir.
Okay, then we are adjourned to this board meeting. We're going to go directly into a public hearing that was set for 3 p.m. regarding an ordinance for transportation impact fee exemptions for low-income housing and early learning facilities. purpose of this public hearing is to accept and consider public comment on the proposed ordinance
We need
amendment.
we need a different Zoom.
Different Zoom, all right.
Sorry.
I was ready to go.
Bureaucratic process has to take place.
No, it's public notification. They have a different Zoom. Sorry.
And then we're going to have to go, after we're done with this, we're going to have to